Corrections Officer, I welcome you to our annual Veterans Day tribute. We are so happy you have chosen to join us today in honoring our veterans. On behalf of our Timpview community, we thank you for your dedicated service to our country. We will begin our program with a presentation of the flags by Timpview Color Guard. The national anthem will be sung by the Timpview Choir and will be led in the Pledge of Allegiance by Miss Provo and Miss Freedom Festival. Following Miss Provo, we'll have a welcome by Provo City by our Mayor Calfusi, and our student body president will explain the Armed Forces medley and be accompanied by Timpview Choir and Orchestra. Our first spotlight will be First Sergeant Bart Watcott, presented by his granddaughter Emily Watcott, a student here at Timpview. We'll then have a performance, the Battle Hymn of the Republic, by Timpview Choir and Orchestra.
Students and teachers and vets, welcome to our Veterans Day celebration here at Timpview. I have such fond memories of being here all day, every day, raising 5 kids, going through this school, being the PTA president, and ending up on the school board, and loving taking care of our teachers and our students that are so near and dear to my heart. So thank you for joining us for this special day. Today, I would like to talk about the spirit of service. Today, we come together to honor the courageous men and women who have served our nation, the veterans who have answered the call to protect our freedom and shape our history. Each veteran represents a spirit of service beyond mere duty, a dedication to something greater than themselves. This spirit drives them to protect, to defend, to give selflessly. Today, we honor not only their actions, but also this remarkable spirit, a legacy we can all embrace. Service isn't limited to wearing a uniform. Each of us can make a difference by showing kindness, lending a hand, and caring for those around us. Veterans remind us that service comes in many forms, through mentorship, volunteering, and being there for one another as friends and neighbors. This spirit of service builds strong communities and a stronger nation. When we dedicate ourselves to helping others, we carry forward the legacy of our veterans and extend the reach of their sacrifice. Let's make our community a place where this spirit thrives, a place of connection, compassion, and shared purpose. Inspired by the courage of our veterans, let us each strive to make a positive impact in the lives around us. I want to say thank you to our veterans. Thank you for your service, your sacrifice, and your example. I also want to point out the families. These veterans, similar to my job, I can't serve this community without an amazing husband and family that support and love me. I know it is 100 times full for you vets. You have family and loved ones that you leave behind or take with you and travel and move, and they're constantly going where asked to go and serving where asked to serve. And I know that can take a hit on the family. So thank you to the families. We love you and we appreciate your sacrifice. May we carry your spirit of service forward in all we do, and may God bless this amazing country we call America. Thank you.
We will now be pleased to hear the Armed Forces Medley performed by Timpview's Chamber Orchestra and Choir. We invite all veterans to stand when their branch of the military song is played. We also invite those in the audience who have a family member who served in one of these branches to also stand in behalf of their loved one's service.
Sergeant Barton A. Walcott. Today, as we gather to celebrate and honor our veterans, I want to take a moment to recognize a remarkable man who has greatly influenced my life and lives of many others, my grandpa. My grandpa served in the Utah Army National Guard for 30 years, dedicating himself to field artillery. He was not just a soldier, he was a leader, a mentor, and a source of inspiration for everyone around him. His commitment to his country and his fellow soldiers is a testament to his character and unwavering sense of duty. During his service, my grandpa was deployed to Iraq with Charlie's Battery, 2nd Battalion, and 222nd Field Artillery. He was proud to be part of a team that patrolled the streets in the Anbar province, providing security to his forward operating base and delivering artillery fire for maneuvering units in the brigade combat team. He often spoke fondly of his experiences with his fellow soldiers, sharing stories of camaraderie, resilience, and bonds that are forged in the heat of service. My grandpa's dedication did not go unnoticed. He retired as a first sergeant, a position that not only his rank, but his respect he earned from his peers. Throughout his career, he was awarded several commendations for his exponential service, including Army Achievement Medal, Army Commendation Medal, the Meritorious Service Medal, and the Bronze Star. Each one of those awards symbolizing the dedication and excellence he brought to his duty. But for him, the real award was the impact he had on his unit and the missions he served. One of the highlights of his training was attending the Air Assault School in Camp Grumberg, Oklahoma. This intense training pushed him to his limits and equipped him with skills that would carry with him throughout his military career. But more than the accomplishments in the training, what he cherished most were the moments spent with his soldiers, ensuring their safety, building bonds that would last a lifetime. As we honor all veterans today, let us remember that their sacrifices extend beyond the battlefield. They are parents, grandparents, and role models who have given so much for our freedom. My grandpa's legacy is one of bravery, leadership, and unwavering commitment to his service. Will you please join me in thanking my grandpa for his service?
number. That was so beautiful. Thank you to our Timpview Color Guard, our choir, Miss Provo and Freedom Festival, Mayor Calfusi, our student body president, and our orchestra. That was for their wonderful performances and remarks. Our next student spotlight will be on Corporal Fred Richard Day, presented by student Elijah Pastana. There will be a performance by Timpview percussion students, and then another spotlight of Captain Lamar Leishman, presented by his granddaughter Jaden Bundy. Our Timpview Ballroom will then perform, and following their performance, Major General Robert W. Drews will be presented by his grandson Spencer Drews. After that, you will hear a reading of the poem Flanders Fields, read by Timpview student Cannon Hadfield. This poem was written by a World War I soldier for his friend and fellow servicemen who was lost in war. Today you will see many of our veterans wearing red poppies made by student government members as a symbol of remembrance and honor of those who served our country.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Elijah Pastana, and I have the privilege of honoring a dear friend and neighbor of mine, Mr. Fred Richard Day. Mr. Day was born on October 20th, 1933, and recently celebrated his 91st birthday. At the age of 19, he was drafted out of the University of Utah to serve in the Korean War. After only a few days to say goodbye to his family, he left for Fort Douglas in Salt Lake City to be inducted into the U.S. Army. As he departed, he had no idea if he'd ever see his family again. But he chose to face his service with courage and faith. He committed himself to being a good soldier and learning quickly. Soon, he earned a spot on his company's drill team, requiring additional hours of training with M1 rifles. Due to the Korean War's urgency, his basic training was shortened to just 6 weeks, filled with intense combat drills day and night. Mr. Day stood out during this time, earning Best Private on the bayonet course and the distinction of Expert Marksman. True to his religious beliefs, Mr. Day never smoked or drank, despite constant pressure from his peers. During their smoking breaks, he read from his pocket-sized scriptures, finishing them by the end of his training. He was the only one in his company of 350 men who never fell out during their exhausting marches and drills. After completing basic training, Mr. Day was promoted to Private First Class, skipping the rank of private due to his Eagle Scout status. At the last minute, he was reassigned from the front lines of Korea to Fort Ord, California, to serve at the 6th Army headquarters. He was grateful for this opportunity to serve in a critical office role, obtaining top secret clearance. Later, he tragically learned that none of the soldiers from his original company returned home, a loss that he mourned deeply. Mr. Day was also assigned to Desert Rock, Nevada, for atomic bomb testing oversight. He witnessed the final test explosion before the camp was closed. I am grateful for Mr. Day's willingness to serve our country. In May 1955, he was honorably discharged and returned to the University of Utah. Throughout his life, Mr. Day has shown dedication not only to our country, but to his faith, family, and community. He remains a source of positivity, strength, and gratitude, reminding us all of the values that unite us as Americans. Please join me now in thanking Mr. Fred Richard Day for his service.
morning. My name is Jaden Bundy, and I would like to highlight my grandpa, Lamar Leishman, who served as a captain in the Air Force from 1968 to 1976. My grandpa trained in the Utah State ROTC program and learned to fly on the T-37 and T-38. During training, he was put through intense weather conditions, difficult types of landings, and close flying formations. One of the many wild stories from his pilot training was when he jumped out of a plane with only a parachute and a rabbit. And he had to make it to a rendezvous point. I like to think that the rabbit was used as purely emotional support, but its true purpose became apparent when they were miles away from the rendezvous and hunger set in. If you made a mistake during training, you received a red mark. Receiving 3 red marks led to being dismissed from the program. My grandpa never received a single red mark, which is especially impressive considering one of the most intense challenges he faced. While practicing land-ins, he flew through a cloud and suddenly the plane's engine stopped. With no engine and little time before he needed to land, my grandpa skillfully landed the plane in a field a few miles away from the airport. Even while still early in the flying program, he crash-landed smoothly, leaving the plane in perfect condition. My grandpa graduated on the top of his class academically and ranked 10th out of 75 pilots in flying. What really set him apart was his decision when selecting a plane. My grandpa was the 3rd in his class and with unwavering confidence chose the C-5. The C-5 was a giant of an aircraft and could hold up to 6 buses. My grandpa was the very first pilot to fly the C-5. With his skilled flying and determined spirit, saw himself through a successful service as a pilot and, to his words, never hurt a single plane. Growing up, I loved hearing about all the places my grandpa visited, Madrid, Spain being one of his favorites. He always jokes that whenever his plane needed repairs overseas, it somehow always seemed to happen right near Madrid. Between the long flights, he made a point to try the local dishes, with his 2 favorites being the fresh salmon in Alaska and the seasoned steak of Madrid. With each trip, my grandpa would arrive at the airport not knowing who his crew would be, and even where he'd be flying. He was assigned missions in some of the most intense conflicts of his time, including the Vietnam War, the Israeli-Egyptian War, and the Greek-Turkish War. Through the many hours my grandpa spent flying, the unpredictability of the assignments, and with constantly changing pilots and crew on his team, the most important lesson he learned was the value of teamwork. I have learned a lot from my grandpa, like what true dedication to one's country looks like, the importance of determination and hard work, and the significance of trusting and working with others to achieve a greater goal. His service has taught me that success isn't just about achievement. It's about working with others to make a difference in a cause you really believe in. Will you please join me in thanking my grandpa for his service?
I need to tie my shoe.
It's my privilege to present U.S. Air Force veteran, my grandfather, Robert Drews. He's accompanied today by his wife of 59 years, Robbie, or as I call her, Nana. They have 3 children, 15 grandchildren, and 1 great-grandchild. Robert Drews was commissioned an officer in the U.S. Air Force in 1964 after graduating with distinction from Air Force ROTC in college. He served on active duty for the next 33 years, during which he and my grandma lived in 12 different homes in 7 states. His time in the Air Force includes getting an MBA from Harvard, multiple years in various capacities at the Pentagon, and duty as a military assistant in the executive office of the White House during the administration of President Ronald Reagan. In 1997, he retired from the Air Force at the rank of Major General. After retiring from the Air Force, he was president of a major aerospace defense company until 2008, when he and my grandma were called to preside over a mission of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in Arkansas. Since 2017, they've resided in Provo, and I have been fortunate to have them as my backyard neighbors. On this day that we recognize the men and women who have served our country, I'm grateful for the example of service and patriotism my grandfather has set for my family. Following in his footsteps, my father also served in the Air Force, and my brother is currently serving in the Navy. To my grandfather, Robert Drews, and all the veterans here today, we thank you for your service. May we never forget our freedom. May we never take our freedoms and heritage for granted. Thank you.
In Flanders fields, the poppies blow between the crosses, row on row, that mark our place. And in the sky, the lark, still bravely singing, flies, scarce heard amid the guns below. We are the dead. Short days ago we lived, felt dawn, saw sunset glow, loved, and were loved. And now we lie in Flanders fields. Take up our quarrel with the foe. To you, from failing hands, we throw the torch. Be yours to hold it high. If ye break faith with us who die, we shall not sleep, though poppies grow in Flanders fields. Thank you.
Thank you, Kim, and everyone who has spotlighted and given us performances. Today is a day to honor the heroes of our country. It's a day to remember the people who have sacrificed immensely to allow us to have the freedoms we enjoy. I want to share the experience of Private First Class Noah Beckstead, my great-great-uncle. When he was just a few years older than some of us here at Timpview, He joined the Army at the age of 25 to serve in World War II. While facing tremendous enemy fire in the Battle of Okinawa, my Uncle Noel carried ammunition across 75 yards to reinforce a heavy machine gun and help defend their position. After heroically crossing this open field multiple times to resupply ammunition, he was eventually fatally wounded by enemy fire. For this act of courage and selflessness, he was awarded the Purple Heart and the Bronze Star. This story motivates me to recognize the blessing and responsibility I have to find ways to selflessly serve others around me as my Uncle Noel did, and be grateful for our veteran sacrifices for our freedoms. When his body was sent home, it was sent home to his wife and 2 small children. I also want to recognize the sacrifice that family members of veterans who have sacrificed the service of the family members of veterans who have sacrificed their loved ones so we can have our freedoms and many blessings. In so many cases, our veterans who are here with us have lost friends and loved ones they have served with, and we recognize those they served with. We are privileged to honor our veterans today. So often as I speak with them, they are incredibly humble about their heroic deeds. I'm so grateful we can honor you today here and what you have done for our community. Thank you. Our closing performance will be a performance of The Taps by Chloe Peterson and Taft Smith. Taps is played for a variety of reasons, including to honor the service of members, to signal the end of the day, and to commemorate the memory of those who have served in the military. Thank you all, for everyone who came today. We invite our students to stand as we escort our veterans to the luncheon.